Tales from the tapes.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Devo from Next Up. Welcome back to Tales from the Tapes. And today, it's me and our co-host Anthony.
Yeet.
And Mike.
Whoop whoop.
Both from the Gruesome Gazette, as normal. And today we are reviewing Malum. Oh boy.
Yeah, boy. Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard not to like say things in the private chat after I watch the movie because okay, let me get the synopsis of this plot real quick because I'm on IMDb right now. It says a rookie police officer willingly takes their last shift at a newly decommissioned police station in an attempt to uncover a mysterious connection between her father's death and a vicious cult.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds good on paper. It sounds so good on paper that this is a spiritual remake of Last Shift from, what, 2013?
14. 2014. Yeah.
There you go. It sounds good on paper. How do we open up this movie? I mean...
all right, well... So it's I see it more of just like a retelling because it's like the base of the story is the same, but like 80% of it is completely fucking different.
Yeah.
But yeah, because do you want to talk about Last Shift for a little bit, or?
I've never seen Last Shift, so that's on both of you. Tell me what Last Shift is and all that.
Well, basically, Last Shift is the same idea where it's a cop is in the station. It's basically closed down for the night. I'm pretty sure they're just there to like watch, like make sure the files are good or something like that. It's been a while, but yeah, and then just she's plagued by like haunted visions and like things are messing with her head. There's like demons that happen. Like again, on paper it sounds the same, but the dramatic different thing is it's a lot less mindfucky, whereas Malum almost feels like they filmed like 6 different movies and just cut them all together. So yeah. That's really all I got for Last Shift. I personally think Last Shift is better, but we can get back to that later on.
Do you agree with that, Anthony?
I would say, I mean, to be fair, I mean, yeah, it did seem like Malum was all over the place, but I kind of felt like Malum was a little bit better because it expanded the story more. You definitely get more lore in this one than you did in Last Shift.
Oh, completely. And that's totally fair. And I'm so glad you're on the other side. That's going to make this far more interesting of a conversation.
I was about to say there's lore in this movie.
Oh, there is.
Yes, yeah, there is definitely lore.
I mean, jokingly, yes, there is a plot, and I followed the plot up until a degree. Up until, like, the last, like, 30 minutes, and then it completely lost me on, like, any meaning this movie had.
Well, lucky for you, I just saw the last 30 minutes, like, not even 5 minutes ago, so I am here to help you through this journey.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it definitely gets wild, and like the ending of the movie gets very wild.
I liked it visually.
Yeah,
visually it's beautiful.
The effects and the effects and the gore in this movie were definitely like way more.
I especially love the part where the Asian lady is being hung, and it just like squeezes her neck open, and her eyes like pop out. I was just like, okay,
man.
I didn't know we were going there, but all right.
Like the rope cut off her fingers, and
yeah.
Oh, that was crazy. Oh, geez. So this movie opens up with Officer Lauren, who I'm trying to find in the IMDb. It's hard to pin him down real quick while looking and talking at the same time.
It's Jessica Lauren, so it was played by Jessica Sula.
Oh, I was talking about like the dad.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, but yeah. Which is funny, Jessica plays
Will
Jessica.
Lauren? Eric Olson played him, but yeah, it's Will Lauren.
Oh yeah, there he is.
But yeah, I think they just call him Officer Lauren the whole movie.
Yeah.
So it opens up with Will Lauren, Officer Lauren. I believe he's what, police chief?
Yeah,
Chief.
I think he was the chief. Yes.
Sounds right.
He comes in from a raid on a compound where a cult led by John Malum is exterminating innocent women and blah blah blah. They do a raid. He rescues 3 out of what, 4?
Yes, and then he's super upset with the fact that he didn't get the 4th one saved.
And yeah, so people are kind of like clearing out of the station a little bit. They leave him in the locker room, and he's all bummed out that he didn't save the 4th person. And it's like, oh man, this guy's clearly got like some, weight on his shoulders. It cuts to a shooting range where 2 officers are just practicing their firearms and whatnot and talking shit on each other. And then Officer Lauren just barges in with a shotgun and blows their fucking heads off.
Which I did not see coming, and I thought it was actually like super fucking effective.
Yeah.
Minus the CGI head explosion that opens the whole thing there, but I can get past that. That didn't stop me. It just definitely stood out.
Yeah, it was like, this chick's just head explodes. The other guy turns around. He's like, Captain. And then, Will shoots him. Officer Lauren shoots him. And it just cuts the whole massacre scene. It just jumped forwards to Officer Lauren in a holding cell with his shotgun, a whole bunch of people dead, and the police finally surrounding him before he takes his own life. After praying to some cult about their leader or some shit.
Yeah, it's very vague in the beginning.
Oh boy. And then it cuts to apparently 1 year later. I thought the time jump was way more massive until they labeled it as 1 year later. Because I thought by the time like he shot up everybody and killed himself, I thought the daughter was probably like way younger.
Yeah, no, I thought the daughter was like a little kid.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And they're like, it's been 1 year since your father's passing. I was like, oh, never mind. She was already an adult, apparently, when this happened.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's necessarily the movie's fault. That might have been us, but I don't know.
Oh, it definitely was us. I thought the time period, like the time jump was like massive. Like I was like, in my brain, it was like a 15-year jump in my mind. I was like, oh, this is a little girl. She grows up to be a police officer. I was like, nope, she was already grown. Apparently, I'm just dumb. Oh, whoa. Anyone else want to describe the next scene?
I'll let Anthony take it.
Yeah, so basically, she gets, so basically starts with her, she gets to the police station, and like, let's talk about like how everybody is just a dick to her for like no reason. Like, basically it's like, it's like all guys, they're just being assholes to her, like for no reason.
So do you think they're being an asshole to her because of her dad, even though they seem to like him before everything? Or do you think it's literally because she's like a woman or something?
I think it's basically there's definitely some chauvinism that was going on. I think that was my impression of it. They were just being like that because she was a girl, because she was a woman.
I thought it was because of the dad in my eyes, but there could be a little bit of both.
Yeah, it could be also, yeah, I agree with that too. It could also have the fact that they had such high respect for her dad, and whenever he did whatever he did, it just like, yeah.
I mean, he probably killed like a lot of the police officers' friends in the station before he was like caught. So I could feel some.
They don't really show us how many casualties there are. We just see like the 2 on screen, maybe like another body in the hallway. Or do they ever say? I don't remember.
I don't think they say. I was waiting because they kept showing like newspaper things, but it was always about the raid and never about him shooting up the police station. I was waiting for like a newspaper thing to like confirm how many he killed, but yeah, it only showed 3. But since that jump cut, I felt like there was more.
Yeah,
especially when we consider the ending.
Mm-hmm.
Which is ooh.
Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry. We have time.
In my brain, I'm just like, should I give my opinion now or should I wait till the end?
Yeah,
oh boy. So yeah, she shows up to the police station like you said. The cops are just complete dicks to her. on the phone, in person. Well, there's one in person to start with. He's a dick.
Yeah.
Like, he's the dickiest of dicks.
Now,
Is that the main guy that Chip, I think his name was, Officer Chip or something?
Oh, geez, I'm trying to remember. It was the
Well,
one
Officer
guy
Christ.
it sounded like Bill Moseley.
Yeah, and he had like the little mustache.
yeah.
He almost looked like Michael McDonald from like Mad TV or something.
Michael McDonald from Mad TV.
That's what he looked like to me. I thought
yeah,
he was
it was the
actually
dude
like the
kicking the-
best part of the whole movie. Like I just thought his acting was like on point because he did that fine line of being like a condescending prick and being like kind of charismatic at the same time.
Yeah.
So I really thought that he actually like he completely knew like what he had to do. He was an asshole, but he was good.
Wait, are we
at
talking
it.
about the one that kicked the basketball down the hallway?
Yeah. Yeah. That one.
Okay, I'm making sure. Yeah, I was like, damn, that dude sucks. Especially when she calls him later, and he's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I was like, god damn. I was like, at least the other dude, which I'll call like phone officer, I don't know his actual name. All we got is his voice. He was the nicest one, and weird spoiler for being the nicest one. I still don't know if he was real or not from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
So yeah, just to warn everybody, there will be spoilers in this. So if you've not seen this, this is your warning now.
Every podcast gonna be a spoiler, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
I feel like we're just gonna be
that
those
warning.
people.
And I was like, watch it if you want it spoiled. Watch us if you want it spoiled.
Yes. Now, there is a little thing that happens here too, because I don't know if you guys paid attention to this or not, but this definitely has a play in later on in the movie. I think he's the one that warns her not to go into holding.
Yes.
There's a reason for that. There's a conversation they have about that whenever she calls him, he's basically
Yeah,
letting her
that's
down.
part of my theory.
But during that phone call, he mentions, like, did you go in holding? She's like, yeah, I did. And he's like, oh, there's like black mold in there. It makes you hallucinate. And yeah, that has something. I have a feeling that my feeling is that has something to do with what's been going on.
Truthfully, I did not catch that. To be fair, the whole like first half of this, I struggled to stay awake. Not because of the movie, to clarify. Since I'm nocturnal, I sometimes just fall asleep at random.
I have that happen at times. It's not just, I totally, trust me, I get that. I'm the same way. Like, I'll be watching a movie, and it's no fault of the movie, but, if I'm, like, really relaxed, I just fall asleep, and then I wake up like, oh.
Especially when I got my blanket on, I got my cat in my lap, I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna, suffocate this fly with my eyelids for a second.
Yeah, he does mention, he's like, oh yeah, there's black mold in there. It makes you hallucinate. And he tells her this after she has already went in there and has called him.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
He doesn't tell her at the beginning. He tells her afterwards.
I was gonna say that should have been like one of the things they opened with, like, all right, welcome to the station. Don't go in holding. There's black mold in there, and it's really dangerous. Instead, they're like, oh, did you do it already? Well, you shouldn't have done that.
Because here's the danger that I should have told you hours ago.
Especially if it's like supposedly actually a health issue. Like, I don't know. I would have started with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, geez. So she's in the old police station, as you can tell from the description of the movie that we recounted earlier. It is decommissioned. Probably one reason, many reasons, but one main reason is probably because of the black mold. But she's there by herself, just overnight, watching over the place so no funny business happens. And then wouldn't you know, the funny business happens.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, so she starts getting like these phone calls, so prank calls, basically.
The little piggy this, watch yourself, blah, blah, blah. So while she is at this police station by herself, the rest of the city has a cult running around it that is setting buildings on fire and being general assholes, starting riots.
And they're called the Flock.
Yeah.
Waka Flocka.
Waka Flocka. Waka Flocka Malum.
So Waka Flocka's running around the city. He's burning everything down.
Yeah, there was a hold on, I'll have to look for this because there was a specific name for them. Temple of what was that? Temple
Oh, the
of
Low God?
Yeah.
Yeah, Temple of the Low God, yes.
Ah, jeez. I was like, there's so much that I just want to like spew out of my brain in nonsensical out of orderness, but I'm trying not to.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
we're getting there.
Oh,
We're-
yeah.
We're almost at the. As soon as you cross the threshold, it's fair game.
Yes.
Then we could go out of order and say a bunch of random shit because after like when it gets to the like last 30-40-ish minutes, the rest of this movie's a bunch of fucking random nonsense.
Yeah, it might as well be a montage. Like the story has almost like it has relevance to the beginning, but like the things that add to the story near the end like almost don't matter until like the last like couple minutes.
So not only is she there because she's there, she requested this one night at the police station so she could investigate the links between her father and the murders her father committed a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And when she starts looking into this stuff, that's when it starts like getting weird, when she starts finding the files and the police tapes that on the USB that he hid, and at that point shit starts going off the wall. The flock plants a pig at the door. There's a homeless man and something about I'm assuming his kid was murdered, and he's trying to get like the evidence of like his kid's shoe. That's my assumption. He doesn't really like have dialogue outside of like saying like weird lines here and there, but it's
This is the guy we put in holding, right?
yeah, this is the guy we put in holding.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, so she finds him. He broke into the police station, puts him in holding, gets locked in holding with him for like a few minutes, like probably like 10 minutes total in her time, but not in movie time. In the moment that holding door shuts, that's when you just disconnect yourself from reality at that point, because the moment she puts him in holding and that holding door shuts on accident, everything starts to go off the rails.
Yeah.
The flock plants a pig at the door, so she lets the pig in. The pig's name is Betty or something. Betsy or Betty.
I think Betsy.
Oh shit! Hold on, I think it's Betty, because later on, once the homeless man basically comes back into the movie, that's like the only word he says is Betty.
Yeah, I'm assuming the homeless guy's daughter was a victim of a cult, and
Yeah. They kind of they don't confirm that, but they kind of infer
implied.
that's what's going on. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, so you like he came in, he was getting the evidence that's like the girl's shoe, and he's like, where is she, blah blah blah, and he's like weirdly connected to it, but it's like not fully explained, much like a lot of this movie is not fully explained.
And yeah, let's talk about the cult leader, like in his turtleneck, looking like a low rate Malcolm McDowell from like Clockwork Orange.
Yes. Yes.
John
He's got the same
Malum,
stare.
the leader of the cult. Oh my god, this guy is one of the best parts of the movie.
Yes, yeah, I agree on that one.
This man is so charismatic, but like so like devilishly evil in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like all good cult leaders, they're, and parentheses, good cult leaders. Oh man, yeah, this guy is like, you could definitely see him being like in the 70s. He's like, hey, you want to go to my barn and make me a new god and bang? And
Yeah.
this is the guy that you would picture. Like, this is Mr. Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got a little more style. He's not like running around in a cloak or something.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, he's very stylish, and I was like, that's part of his charm. His turtleneck, his like brown leather thing around his jacket around his turtleneck, and
I almost wish they made that like an important part. Like everyone in the cult now wears turtlenecks.
Yeah.
Like that would, I don't know, it would have just added that little bit that just makes me happy.
Yeah. Gotta wear turtlenecks to be in this cult.
Waka Flocka and the turtlenecks. Hell yeah.
Waka Flocka and the turtlenecks.
Secretly, it's the Turtle Club.
You got to be turtly enough, you know?
We now know who owns the Turtle Club in the Master of Disguise. Fucking John Malum starts coming down in that scene. He's about turtly enough for the Turtle Club, and he's like, bow to the low god.
Everyone just starts ripping their faces off.
Man, Master of Disguise took a weird turn. I don't remember this movie.
I'm going to have to edit that as a trailer.
Yeah.
Let's confuse some people.
It was Dana White, and Dana White infiltrates the flock cult of the low god.
Yeah.
Mike Myers is John Malum.
Yeah.
Also 3 other characters because he's Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Mike Myers also plays the pig. No.
He plays one of the women.
His last words before he dies is just, oh, behave.
Yeah.
He's got the shotgun. He's about to be taken out, and he goes, "Do I make you Randy, baby?"
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No.
And then I hope the cult, when they all come back and they start just like chanting their bullshit near the end, I wish they all just started just going like, Randy, Randy. That's the word that summons him. That's his abracadabra. It's Randy.
If you want to scare him away, you have to start yelling, "Make us Austin Powers 4," and he'll go away.
Yeah.
Just start chasing him with a penis pump. And he's like, that's not mine.
Yeah.
Swear.
He's like, I got my mojo, baby, to resurrect this demon.
The low god gives me my mojo, baby.
Yeah.
I'm a vessel for the mojo to flojo. No.
Oh, we are stupid.
I love it. Oh boy.
So yeah, so that's John Malum, which is where the movie gets its name from. Which it took me way too long to notice that. I will admit it.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying any attention to that.
Yeah. Oh boy. So yeah, she gets her first little side effect of soon as she's locked in the holding with the homeless guy is she sees 3 hanging bodies with sacks over their heads. She freaks out, and all of a sudden, which is my theory, is where reality like has completely like gone, and I feel like this is where it started, like where reality and then like the weird shit starts happening. I feel like this was like you've crossed the veil point, was when she backed out of the holding cell door and it was just randomly open.
Yes, I had the same thought, because that was when I was just like, that's weird.
I was just like,
I never had lost that thought after that.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, the cell door's open all of a sudden after she was locked in there. So like the theory for me, and I'm sure Anthony would agree, is that when the holding door shut, it like she got trapped in there with the black mold and started panic breathing and just breathing a bunch of it in really fast, and then that's when shit got weird.
Yeah.
I have a theory to add to that, but I'll save it for a little bit later.
So yeah, at this point in the movie, there's a lot of uncovering bits and bobs of the cult. You guys are gonna have to explain this, because at this point for me, the movie's just a montage. We get some answers like who Malum is and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But by the end of this movie, I was left with so many more questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they do try to expand like more on the like that. Yeah, because the cult was in the original, The Last Shift, but they didn't really expand on them much. So this one expands on it more to give a more backstory as to like what they were about. They basically show like, so basically all his followers, which were all women, they're like all crazily obsessed with his mission. And they're doing like, so they're basically showing them. I think there was like some videotapes that she was playing. Like she was like playing some videos on her computer. Like they were doing like different interviews with these people, and like they're just spouting just random bullshit. But just to show you just like how crazed that this whole cult was with their beliefs.
They're trying to get Randy for the low god.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which I'm still like, what is the low god? Does anybody know?
I'm pretty sure, if I'm taking a guess, I think that's either Malum was trying to summon a demon god that was called the low god, or he was trying to manifest himself into becoming that.
Yeah.
I think that's what like Anton LaVey's thing was, right? Like with the church that he had, it wasn't necessarily that he was trying to like conjure Satan. It's he was trying to either become him or become like one of him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like a little bit of both. Like I think, yeah, like they were trying to summon this demon, but like he himself was like trying to become like his disciple.
Gotcha.
The man was like, listen, I'm the Jesus to your God. Or some shit. I have no idea. Because they
he's like, I will be your mini-me.
Yeah.
The Austin Powers comparisons are amazing.
We're just going to keep going. They're not going to stop.
Yeah. It's not going to stop.
I mean, we have a fat bastard coming up later. Like, there's a bunch. We can keep this going.
God.
I'm game for it.
I'm trying to wrap my head around a lot of this. So, like, they're like, your father to her, because they end up, like, catching up to her, or I think they end up catching up, like I said. After the holding cell scene, I don't know what is actually accurate, what is reality, and what's not reality.
Yes. Yeah, that's part of why I like this movie so much, because there's definitely that psychological bit where it's like, you don't know what's happening is, like, really happening, or if it's just, like, her hallucinations because of the black mold.
Right, and then in turn, it makes it so the audience is having the same effect as the black mold because you don't know what's happening.
If spoiler alert, I seen one big, not cliffhanger, one big cliche at one point in the movie, which was when the pig got loosed and she thought the pig was like a deformed person.
Yeah.
When I was like, okay, that's the pig, I was like, okay, so they're doing this thing where she's going to shoot the pig. It's going to show that it's a pig. In the moment that I was like, okay, so I knew they were going to do that. And the moment they did it, I said, well, that's the ending of the movie. As soon as that scene happened. Well, I mean, not the ending of the movie, but like, I was just like, oh, so that's the twist ending of the movie. I already like seen it from the pig scene. I was like, okay, so she's gonna end up probably shooting up a bunch of police officers like the dad, or killing a bunch of people she thinks is monsters, but it's not. And
That's exactly
as soon as they did the pig scene, I was just like, okay, so that's gonna be the ending of the movie.
Yeah, that's pretty much like that's what I was the same way. As soon as that happened, and I was like, okay, I see where this is going, and it's gonna lead. That's like totally what I expected at the end. Is going to turn out that she thought she was shooting up demons and everything, but she's really shooting up cops.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's cops, innocent people, blah blah blah. Like I thought she's gonna go on a full murder rampage. That's partly true for the ending, but also partly not true, because the ending is still very fucking confusing to me.
Yeah.
So I just had to get it off my chest. I'm just like, yeah, they gave away the ending of the movie way too early.
Yeah, I can agree on that one.
I will say, though, I don't think it totally negates everything, just because there's so much ambiguity that, like, even, like, the things that are fake, you really don't know, like, what is fake and what's not. Like, even when there is the reveal of the reality afterwards, and you're like, oh, of course, that's who's dead. Like, I mean, it's still, even after that, makes you continue wondering, because, like, the next cut it goes to is just, like, totally different.
Yeah.
Like, there's a bunch of scenes where she's, like, somewhere, like, trapped or something, and she's, like, cornered, but then all of a sudden she's just, like, in the hallway again.
Yeah,
it's like he's bringing her back.
Where did the fucking two other police officers go? Were they real or were they not real the entire time? Was there ever backup?
I don't know that one. Maybe they died in the shooting.
That's what like I'm wondering like if they were like two of the ones that were killed and they just kind of like appeared
As like
you know,
ghosts to haunt the station in a hallucination.
and yeah, because they ended up like joining in like with all the other, I guess they were, I don't know, like that's the other, yeah, that part was definitely very confusing, like as to like, was everybody else like just ghosts? Were they just
So,
like,
timeline wise, the first time we see these two guys, like when we're with the daughter, is that after she goes in the holding cell, or is that
yeah, that was
before?
after.
All right, then
Yeah,
they're
when they
definitely not
showed
real.
up.
He said that they're definitely not real.
Yeah, they showed up like after she, after she went into holding and breathed in the black hole, black mold. Yeah, they showed up like later on in the movie.
Because they come to pick up the guy from holding, right?
Yeah.
They're there to pick that guy up.
Oh, so they're also acting as the MacGuffin device that makes her go back into holding to get more. Yeah, so they're definitely not real.
Yeah, and I was a bit confused too, because like in my mind, it didn't happen in the movie, but in my mind, when he showed her her dad's murder weapon, it was like, "Don't touch it," and blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, that was
Like,
definitely a ploy.
Yeah, I
He's
was like,
he's like, I'm not
"Oh."
telling you to use this, but you should use this.
Mm-hmm.
In my head, when she like hallucinated back to a whole nother place, when she like that, which was really weird. In my brain, I was like, what if that dude was real? And then when she hallucinated, grabbed the shotgun and blew his head off, but we didn't see that bit because she was hallucinating and we don't know.
Yeah.
Totally possible.
Like I said, movie never confirms it, but in my mind, I was like, in that moment, to me, that guy was real and she totally killed him.
No, you're probably right on that one.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it was like, yeah, that was really weird. Because after he put back the shotgun and it jump cuts and she's in a whole new location, that's when she went back to holding. After that moment, she went back to holding after that to get the guy out, and then the fat police officer was in there holding a gun to his head saying prayers, and he was all bloodied up.
Well, weren't the police officer and the guy saying the same thing at the same time? Because I thought the guy was like screaming like, "You gotta let me out of here," but like if you looked at the cop with the gun behind him, I thought the cop was mouthing the same thing.
Yeah, he was mouthing prayers. He was mouthing whatever the guy was saying, whatever the homeless guy was saying. And it was like, that was a really weird moment. And then like she opened the cell and then they were both gone.
Yeah.
So we know Porky Pig in that scene was not real.
Right.
Oh man, this movie makes me question a lot of things and I wish I had answers.
Yeah, it definitely gives you more questions than answers. I will definitely say that.
I can just after that because I know that the director went about this when it came out earlier in the year. So, I didn't listen to him because obviously I didn't see the movie yet. But I'll go check him out and I'll see if I find anything else and I'll update y'all.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to make an after podcast update. Ooh, Patreon stuff now. But yeah, it's just like the last half of this movie. I like the visuals. I don't know. This movie, I don't want to be insulting. This movie is very mid for me. It's very mid tier.
Well, because after this point, it just turns into a literal montage of. It's a combination of she's being stalked by the cult. They get close, but not enough to actually do anything. People are dying. They're killing people in the hallways. There's one time she turns a corner, one of them stabbing another girl, and then she slits her throat. And so then the cop runs up and puts her hand on her throat and calmly and gently is like, "You're gonna be okay. I'm here. You stay with me." And then that girl dies. And this just really keeps happening back and forth. It's just random people enter the scene. They die. We keep going until we hit the point where she is having her worst hallucinations, which I would say is the kneeling hallway scene. Or no, before that, we're in the throne room where it looks like a Slayer album cover. And there's just the dude's hoist up in the chair with a bag on his head. But you don't know who it is. She thinks it's the mom. And then when she takes off the bag, it looks like a corpse that's been dead and drying out for years. And their teeth are all filed down. And it straight up looks like Baba's demons kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then I think, is where the movie gets its strongest part for the lore. Because then everything that you've been seeing clips of, it actually has a point at this point.
Yeah.
I'm still lost. You gotta tell me what the point was, because to me, I'm just like, okay, why was she was set up to be apparently a queen, but like, why is John Malum alive but not alive? Is
Okay,
the demon in her head, but is it John?
I think I can actually help you with that. But a few things before we get to my seatbelt. So there's a point where the mom comes to the station, and that basically serves as like the big parks. After that, she's just trying to find her mom when she goes missing. But when the mom enters, she says something along the lines of like, "You were in on them," or like, "You were part of this."
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that's the most clearest lore dump we got was from the mom right before she vanished. She was like, "Yeah, I was part of the cult, and then I hooked up with your dad, and he got me out of the cult."
yeah, she's like, I was young and naive, and then she vanishes. So that being the case, then with the way like demons and cults and stuff work, like you don't ever get out of the deal. It changes its course and shape sometimes, but. So, like, if she joined this cult and their whole point of this cult is to dedicate themselves, their spirit, their flesh, everything to this low god, then even if she left the cult, it still is with her. So, I mean, it's possible that if this was like a seed of like an idea that like gets stuck in her spirit, like that could translate into the kid and also like corrupt the father. And then it just like leaves it poised to be triggered by something that happens.
Yeah, I'm still confused about the father bit, because I was like, was he part? I was like, he couldn't have been part of the cult because he's not a female. So how was he like brainwashed into killing people?
I think what it was is like, yeah, because so Malum, he has this effect. He was having this effect on people, is the feeling I was getting. So he's like so charismatic and everything. So basically, like, it affected the father in a way that he started believing in what Malum was telling him. I think he started like in little ways, like he wasn't like really involved, but he started getting involved in some way with the cults.
I think the closest thing I can get to the explanation of the father in my mind is the interrogation scene where he sees the demon in the reflection staring at him.
Right.
And then he stands up and like it's a weird stiff stand up too.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and this is a theory, I don't know if this is confirmed, but half this movie is fucking theory at this point. What if he looked into the reflection, seen the low god, and the low god possessed him and had him killed like that's when he started his shooting. Because he just stood up stiff. It was weirdly stiff, like he was in a trance and walked out of the room. So I'm like, well, what if he looked into the low god's eyes, the low god took him over, grabbed a shotty, and was just like, this is where it starts.
Yeah.
And they do make a point that that's the footage she keeps watching. And then there's something about the cops saying that like there's something about the interrogation and that was what set him off. So by watching it, they could be getting to her as well. Going back to the very beginning, the whole thing with the shootout and only 3 of the 4 survivors, did they clarify like if that was just like an unrelated crime, or was that them trying to save people from the cult?
I
think that was them saving people.
Yeah. I think they did touch on that it was him trying to save them from the cults.
Then it's very possible the cult just like the evil within the cult followed them, especially since he has Malum, the leader, like right in the cell. Like, if that guy has made a pact with this creature, then it's definitely just going to be attached to him. So it's possible that he straight up just brought it into the station.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it was more clear.
Yeah.
And then like black mold takes like years to develop, right?
Yeah,
or is it like one of the faster molds?
I think it's the faster, deadlier one. But I'm also very confused on like I don't think it would take 10 minutes of in terms of the daughter character, the one we follow most of the movie. I don't think it would take 10 minutes of her being locked up and holding for it to make her start tripping balls.
All right. So I got the theory on this. Do I have permission to just rant for a minute?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, so the way that portals work and like symbols and all that, and like if you look into any kind of like that old like ancient teaching thing, it's basically you make it a doorway which has a representation to allow something to pass through it. So if we're going to look at the movie within its own universe, the mold could literally be something which is a manifestation of the power that this Malum guy had. And so by the mold being there, that serves as the doorway, which is why all she has to do is interact with it and get close to it for it to affect her. And that would also explain why it also affects the homeless man, if he existed. And it would also explain also how the father got so fucked up really quickly, is because just like how the demon was attached to the guy, now it's inside the building and it's like manifesting back through this mold. Because it seems like everything's fine in the building, nothing has happened for a whole year until she goes in the cell and interacts with the mold.
Yeah.
So if the mold is not like a literal mold, which it could be since of the hallucination thing, but if it's more of a metaphorical mold, or like whatever it's doing is more of like philosophical than that, then it could just, you know, that's what I think it is. I think that's where the demon's coming from. I think that's why if you touch it, it makes your mind basically just turn into whatever he wants to do. And I don't know, because they went a whole year with no incidents. So this is the first time anything's happened since. So it could just be because it's her. It could be because she went into the room because she didn't know better. I mean, but if that's the case, you know, the police should have been like, yo, don't go in this fucking room.
Yeah. Yeah, that does make total sense. Yeah, like the mold could really be more like a manifestation of the evil. Yeah.
So that's my thought on it. I don't know if that helps you at all, Cody.
It doesn't, because I want concrete evidence of it. Like, I will.
All right, I have one concrete evidence that you're not gonna like. So, on Ghost Adventures, there is an episode where they go to like one of the old club buildings of Anton LaVey himself, and they're going around in one of the rooms where they used to do rituals, and on this wall there are pentagrams carved into it that they believe he did himself. And then supposedly, when they put an EVP directly up to the pentagram, they could interact directly with Anton LaVey. Again, this is Ghost Adventures. Whether you believe it or not, it's totally your own mileage. But there is technically a scientific offering to that to show like something. I know that's, you know, that's all entirely in air quotes, but if you need evidence, there's something to consider.
I was thinking more evidence that the mold is the portal.
No, exactly, because the pentagram served as a portal that they could talk to LaVey through. So if in that same sense, if we're going to believe that that is what's happening here, then you could say that the mold is serving as the portal to Malum. You know, he didn't have enough time to carve like, you know, his Charlie Manson like symbols into the wall, so instead he just, you know, mold. You know, he's kind of like who's the dirty guy from Peanuts? Yeah, Pigpen. So, you know, this is Pigpen, but, you know, with a turtleneck, and he's very charismatic.
Turtleneck runs a cult, and Dana White has to stop him.
Exactly.
Oh, geez.
So, just a theory. I'm not saying anything. I'm just a theory.
Oh, yeah, it's all theory to me. I'm just like, I didn't see any mold in the holding cell. I was just like, there's that weird bit at the end where like the holding cell roof is missing, where she's loading the gun up into the sky and it looks run down. And I'm like, why does it look run down? Like years have passed when there was a roof on this place. And I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? Is that the mold or...
I mean, if it is serving as a demonic portal, then it could literally have aged by like hundreds of years over the course of 1 year.
Yeah.
But she just sees it as a normal holding cell, doesn't see it as like a fucked up...
Well, I'm trying to remember because I think there is one point where she's looking up at the ceiling, and it does show like the mold that's on the ceiling.
Yeah, because there's like, it looks like a normal holding cell. And I know at one point where she's shooting at the ceiling's gone. You see the rafters and it's like, it's moldy. And I'm like, is that reality? Like the fucked up bit? Maybe the fiction, like maybe the not reality is that it looks normal. Maybe that like brief 1 minute of we see of that weird other room, maybe that's reality. And that's like all the mold and it's just like infested the room and built up, but we don't see that.
Yeah. Yeah, because once she contacts it, if it causes hallucinations, then literally anything could, it could also be the room is completely fine, or and she sees it as fucked, or that is completely fucked and she sees it as fine, or it could even take turns.
Yeah, because
there's no rules in this universe.
The whole the holding cell looks normal the whole movie up until that one scene where she shoots the gun repeatedly into the ceiling, and there's just rafters and like planks of wood, and it's run down, and I'm like, that's the only time in the movie that cell looks different, and I'm like, well, maybe that's the actual cell.
Yeah.
Which would be weird because she didn't breathe any mold in beforehand, but so she went in there and it went in there looking normal at that point. But I'm like, my far-reaching excuse for that was it was dark and all she had was a flashlight to see in the holding cell, so maybe she didn't see that it was run down and fucked up.
Well, another pocket that you could reach in is that if the mother did in fact was in this cult and she was part of it, then the portals are also inside the mother and affecting her. She gives birth to this girl who's very sensitive to this.
Oh, did we cut out?
Being in the building, I mean, that could have just done her. The holding room was just like that's where the queen alien is. But the xenomorphs are still like just lurking around. Just another pocket you can reach in.
Yeah, they did say that like the 3 people hung themselves that night in the holding cell area.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they were leaving their cursed mark by sacrificing themselves. I have no idea.
Hey, I feel that is another part of it too. Is like whenever they hung themselves, like it was part of the ritual that activated everything.
Yeah, because they're like, your dad started something and we're gonna finish it. And I'm like, what does it mean?
I mean, that definitely works for me.
I'm about to just find the creator, just email this guy and be like, explain this. I want answers. Watch
the original. Maybe it will help you.
Yeah, I definitely would say watching original Last Shift it will definitely help a little bit more. It may not give you all the answers, but it'll
fill in blanks that this movie may have left out, maybe.
Yes,
because the original is definitely less mindfucky. It's still the same story and everything with less story. But it's definitely less mindfucky. Like, it gets there, but it's not half the movie.
Okay, yeah, so explain it, or I would say explain the ending, because that makes it sound like a little more answers. What happens during the last 10 minutes of this film?
My short answer is she kills her mom as a sacrifice to the god, and that's it. Everything else is hallucinated, or it could be real in a different reality that she's also intermingling between.
Yeah, so basically what happens is they're trying to get her to make a blood sacrifice so she becomes one with the god. So I guess killing her mom is a part of that. But she doesn't really want to do it. But then she ends up doing it anyway because she hallucinates. There's this demon that shows up. She kills the demon, and it ends up being her mom.
And I gotta say, these demons that we do see at this point in the movie are fucking cool. Like
they
the
are,
really tall motherfucker in like the warehouse room. That dude was so cool.
Yeah, and his face came off. That was awesome.
Yeah,
it's a face hugger, but backwards.
Oh boy! So what do you think the whole meaning is? Okay, so she kills her mom. Then she's like, oh no, everybody's fading in and out between hallucinations and reality, and maybe other realms or reality, depending. And then she says a prayer, she shoots herself, but then isn't dead, and she wakes up next to Malum on a throne that is like a not as cool throne as apparently the queen.
All right, I think she's actually dead. I think that last gasp is just for the jump scare factor. I really think that should not have existed. It would have been a lot more powerful to just end on that really like sad, somber note.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna pretend that did not happen. She's just in the chair, and then the camera just goes to black.
I would say my feeling is they did that as a way to tease, continuation of the story.
Yeah. I mean, it could also be if we go back to like my theory with this universe, it could be that she is dead, but now she's reborn, kind of thing, because now she's a queen. So maybe she is actually alive,
reborn in the demon realm of some sort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what? I take it back. I'm not going to pretend it didn't happen. I take it back.
She's reborn as the member of the Turtle Club.
Yeah, in fact, she's like the new leader.
She's the Turtle Queen.
Except she's wearing, cop uniform instead of the turtleneck. So instead of turtles, now they're pigs. Which is a quote from the movie. I am not, in fact, insulting anybody.
Right. Yeah. They do spend that whole movie like with the whole pig thing going on.
Yeah. So that's just kind of the thing.
Especially the fact that you have like a literal pig in a police station.
Exactly. That's the new mascot.
Oh, when you become the queen of the cult of Gamera, like.
Yeah. Now she's the queen of bacon.
Yeah.
I was about to say, did my giant monster joke fall flat?
It did on me.
Gamera's a giant turtle, like Godzilla-sized turtle.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna say it, and I doubt anybody's gonna get it.
Nope, I'm still waking up. I don't wake up for like 4 hours after I wake up.
Oh, this is definitely. Oh, go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say definitely this ending gives you a lot to unpack as to what's happening. It's definitely gonna leave you again, like this whole movie. It's gonna leave you with more questions than answers. It's kind of like I don't know, like I kind of don't like how it ended in a way, because it's like the movie's like basically like, oh fuck you, just figure it out on your own.
That's what I did not like. I was hoping that like we would have got one more good USB scene where it would have been like the revelation, like right before she shoots her mom. If they had another in-office USB scene where it would just drop the lore and be like, this is what's happening right before she killed her mom, or a montage, maybe cut back and forth, like while she's like face to face with the demon, maybe you hear like the tape in the background explaining what's about to happen or as it's happening, or like give me the revelation of what was the purpose.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I get it. They fulfilled their goal, but what was the goal?
Sounds like the ending of Saw.
I was like, yeah, they did the thing, but I still don't know what the thing is to know what they did.
Yeah.
I know they succeeded, but I still don't know. Like, there was another movie. Oh God, it was on Shudder. It was a live streamed exorcism. Do you know what I'm talking about? It came out recently, like a few years back.
It wasn't Host, was it?
No, it wasn't Host. It was a guy who's like a fake priest.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Hold on, let me remind myself.
He's trying to remember that. Well, but yeah, he's a fake priest who does live streams on like Twitch or something, but it's not Twitch. But he fakes it all, and then he live streams a real one, and it's like.
Oh,
and I hate to like spoil that movie. Maybe we'll talk about it later. I'll find what it's called. But that movie's ending dropped the revelation and the meaning of what was happening in such a clear way, but like with also without it being lame. Like, instead of like we're explaining the joke, so therefore the joke's not funny type of way. That movie definitely like gave you the revelation as the thing was happening, to the point where like they explained it as it happened, so it all hit you at once, and then you're like, oh shit, this all makes sense. If this movie did what that movie did, I would have been happy with it.
Right.
What if it did what The Last Exorcism did?
I found it. It's called The Cleansing Hour.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you ever seen The Last Exorcism?
I've seen The Last Exorcism.
Dude, it literally ends and goes to black, and then it pops up with like, to find out what happened, go to this website. And like that's literally the end of the movie, is it tells you to go to a website.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
I only know about that movie because of that ending. I don't think I've actually seen it. It's either a phone number or it's a website, but I think it's a website. because I know that pissed a lot of people off. So, I mean, at least you didn't get that.
To find out what happened in Malum, please join our newsletter at theflock.org. Like,
They're like, we're not going to make a sequel. You can just go read what's going to be.
like they tried to ARG it, but it failed.
Yeah, basically.
They should have Cloverfield ARG'd it, and that would have worked better. Do it in reverse. Do the ARG leading up to the movie. Don't show the movie, then send them on the ARG. Well, that's got to be one full episode in itself. Is like Cloverfield's. Like if we ever discuss that, that's a 2-hour episode in and of itself, because we have to talk about the ARG elements.
Oh my gosh, yes, I'm down for that. I am. Oh my gosh, yeah. Don't.
Because like you could explain the movie and be like, giant monster attacks New York. Yeah. Or you could just be like, okay, so here's the thing, the whole 9 months leading up to the movie, and then the movie, and then explain the ARG as like, because I'll talk about the show for hours.
Yeah, because ARG just drops so much lore behind it, and yeah, it's like, oh my god, that was like so amazing. I wish that could be a thing. The
second movie did it.
Yeah, the second movie did it too.
The third one did not.
Yeah.
God Particle.
Yeah, the third one was a surprise that dropped during the Super Bowl.
Right.
It was, and it was universally hated, but I feel like that one was... I like that one, which is weird because I don't much care for Malum, because I'm like, they explained nothing, but I feel like the Cloverfield Paradox explained everything. It's just you had to... And I'm going to be that guy. Like, I'm the guy who's like, you don't like Rick and Morty because you're not smart enough. If you don't like the Cloverfield Paradox, check your IQ, please, because that movie is fucking genius.
I've never seen Paradox.
It will explain nothing and everything at the same time. It is such a... It's a mind fuck, but like that's why I feel like nobody liked it. Like it dropped during the Super Bowl. People were like, new Cloverfield movie, it's gonna be so good. But like, if you don't understand like shattering the multiverse theory and like different timelines, that's with they don't tell you that's what it's about, but it's 100% like converging multiple universe timelines in the one thing. But they do such a bad job at like explaining it. There's a few lines that are on point. They're like, you just need these like 3 lines from these actors and you understand the whole movie. But they're throwaway lines. And that's the issue, is like they don't explain the word, but those throwaway lines is all you need to go, I get it now. And nobody got it. And that's, everyone's like, this movie made no sense and I hated it and it was boring and it was just a bunch of nonsense. I'm like, no, it's a good movie. Fuck you. I will defend this like Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll have to check it out sometime.
Oh, I need to not. I'm going to go into a fuck Cloverfield Red. Malum.
I mean,
I'll say that for another episode.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how much more there's left to cover with Malum. I mean,
I
feel like we're at the end. I mean,
she becomes the queen. Her mom's dead, we think. Her dad's laughing at her as she shoots her mom. That's kind of cool.
Can we also just go back for like 20 minutes in one of my favorite scenes? I don't want to say it's the best scene, but when she runs into the locker room and finds her dad, and when the lights go dim and his eyes turn like glowing and he's like, I had to kill them, and he turns on like a demon in the darkness. That's awesome.
I love that shot. I really noticed that, because I was like, oh, this is kind of cheesy what he's talking, because he's like, we're cops, we hurt people, that's what we do. But then he starts doing the like growly voice, and then when it cuts back, he's no longer in pitch black, it's just his eyes glowing. Like, that was fucking cool. I will admit that.
Yeah, that was an amazing shot. I'm like, that's fucking sweet.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Visually, it's fun visually.
Yeah. Definitely gory. I love the gore.
I personally did not think that I cared much for its plot. I feel like I said, if they dropped like a big revelation scene, that could have, put 3 more minutes in a movie, I would have been fine with that. That would have like made it better for me. But I was just like, visually it's fun, story wise it's eh.
Well, my main problem I had was I did not care for the girl that we follow. So I don't know. I tried to feel bad for her and like I didn't. But so I had the debate though with myself where I didn't know if I didn't like her acting or if just because of how the movie is structured, it was like impossible to like actually be like fully there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just didn't connect with her.
If this movie would have been 15 minutes longer and gave us like maybe a few shots of like the father with the daughter and like us being like, oh, look how happy she is at this and that, like build her character up a little bit more before she goes into the police station, because she's just there to like follow so the plot can move forward. She doesn't, she is not a character in herself. She's, I'm cop woman.
Yeah, she's basically just like the reaction that we're supposed to be, but that's why it didn't work. Like, I don't know, because like it could have been either just like she sees something like of his and has a quick flashback and there's like giggling and smiling, like, I mean, like that alone would be effective. Or before he goes to this night for this phone call, like, I don't know, like they're out like having ice cream or something, and they're just being sweet, and then he goes and then that's when he does his murder after the fact. Like, I feel like just one of those two things would have added something for me, but I mean, but like I said, I didn't really think I could blame her just because the structure itself made it weird. But you're right, that's a good editing trick that would have made quite a difference.
Yeah, it was like if we would have had like if the beginning was slightly more expanded to be like, here's cop dad spending time with his family and showing like the mother before she was affected and the daughter, because we don't know their existence until after the intro. Like, they don't mention really anything. They're just like, here, how's the wife and kid your kid's almost graduated to be a cop. Like, they drop none of that. And then you're like, okay, here's daughter character and here's mother character. And, like, they're just there now. And
well, I think part of it, sorry, but I think part of it, too, is like we said in the beginning, like, we didn't know how old she was. So when he was like, tell my wife and Jessica, I'm sorry and I love them, and then he kills himself. And then we go to this girl and like, she's not like a little girl. She's, a full grown adult. Like, I feel like maybe even just that, like, like I just wasn't expecting that. So that threw me off from the start.
And it didn't give us a time card, which is really weird. They go 1 year later or nothing. It just cut.
Yeah. And then they just casually drop it in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, like, I wonder if this movie would have been better if it was his wife instead of his daughter or something.
If it was a bit more fleshed out, added a few extra scenes to get us to like add character development, that would have been better.
So this is where I'm going to come in with my defense. So
I hate
the reason
you.
why,
No.
So my reasoning why I like this movie so much is because like I definitely am into movies that show us like different demons and things like that and introduce us to new ideas, which is kind of like what this movie did. It introduced a new idea of this low god. And
Yeah, all that shit was cool.
yeah, and I think the part of it is, it doesn't explain a whole lot about what's happening, why it's happening. But I like it. The reason why I like that so much is because it gives you the opportunity to form your own theories. I love movies that do that. Like, you don't get a whole lot. You don't get shown a whole lot. You get that chance to form your own theories as to what's happening, how the movie could continue from here. So like that's in my defense as to why the movie is good in my opinion, because that's what it does, exactly that, where it just gives you enough to let you form your own theories.
Yeah, I don't mind the theory thing. I don't need it all explained to me. I do like the mystery. Like, it's just there was way too many questions and answers. I needed just enough answers. If they would have left me more questions than answers, I would be fine if I got enough answers. Like, this one was like, here's 3 answers and 12 questions. And I'm like, okay, that's a bad ratio. Give me like 6 answers and like half questions. Like if it 50-50'd me, I'd have been okay. But I'm like, okay, you answered like 3 things vaguely, and then raised 800 more questions near the end.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll meet you both in the middle. So, I do completely agree with Cody that just a little something extra would have just made me just connect and care a little bit more. Like literally just a little bit more of just like the relationship. That would have been good. But I'm also going to really agree with you, Anthony, because I love David Lynch. So, not everything has to make sense as long as it makes sense within the universe it's in, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Right.
like, and then like you said, you can form your own theories, and like, and to, I mean, just to support that, like we've spent a large chunk of this podcast talking about the theories of everything more than what actually happened. So, so you're completely right.
If they made a sequel movie, I want it to be a prequel movie following John Malum. 1,
Yes.
because the actor is fucking awesome. 2, that would give them a good setup point to give us all or enough answers to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So they could be like, here's the point of this baby being born and why she's so important to blah, blah, blah. And like, just give me a prequel movie where it's like in whatever time period that the cult was like peaked, and let me follow the cult from the inside before this movie, and I will be like, yeah, so let's fucking go.
I like that idea of being with a cult for a prequel. I would even be cool with it literally being like just the day before Malum. Excuse me. And it just ends with literally the shootout where the cops come and, they get the 3 and not the 4.
Right.
Like,
And
if it
like
literally ended with that, like, it would be a perfect transition. I would care more about the father, and it would do like the Pearl and X thing where it would actually make the original movie like that much stronger. Just because like it's the right kind of sequel that supports it instead of writing it.
right. I was like, I either want that version of a prequel or a prequel following the mother when she was pregnant.
Yeah, so Anthony DeBlasi, if you're listening to this, hit us up. We'll write this with you.
Yeah.
All right. Are we good on Malum?
Yes.
All right.
Yep, I'm set.
I think that's as much as we could squeeze out of that. And I mean, if you go see the movie, if you want to like for yourself form an opinion on what the hell we just watched. And remember, at the end, the survivors were survivors.
Even to this day.
Yeah.